Hey guys, what is going on? This video is dedicated to describing my personal experience working with Azazel. You're probably finding this video because you yourself are interested in working with Azazel, and this is exactly why I share this story and my personal experience, because I think working with Azazel, looking at it from a historical and biblical standpoint, looking at all the videos here on YouTube, you find a lot of information, but maybe also a lot of information that makes you hesitant. So I think it is my duty to share exactly what I've experienced, to kind of shine a light onto the other brighter side, so to say, of working with Azazel and how it has impacted my life, my spirit, my finance, and pretty much, everything, my whole experience of this expression of life. So before working with Azazel, I want to tell you guys that I've worked also with other demons before. This has been in the chronological order, first with Bune, then with Lucifer, Father Lucifer, and then with Lucifuge Rofokal. Okay, so I've gone into this working with Azazel with already some prior experience, and this is, I think, also a good way of approaching it, even though if not necessary. Okay. So Azazel, like I said, has a certain reputation of being strict, turning your life upside down, causing havoc. Maybe also because some of that biblical stigma that he is like the scapegoat, God, demon, whatever you want to call him. Maybe because of the Bible, there is a lot of negative stigma around God Azazel. And therefore I was also a little bit hesitant to connect with him. The reason why I connected with him and how it all was coming along was because actually a good friend of mine did her first working with Azazel, and this kind of like opened the gateways of my perception to working with Azazel. As she worked with him, she described the ritual as extremely potent, extremely impulsive, and she actually sent me a picture of a candle of hers that was completely bent after the ritual was done. So, my initial stigma, my initial way of thinking about Azazel got a little bit enforced by that, and I was like, oh wow, there's some really powerful stuff. Azazel is super powerful, very straightforward, comes into the room and bends the candles, so on and so forth. So that was like my first contact point that kind of even fed in a little bit more into that stigma. So I knew that I had to work with Azazel. I got that curiosity, right? Just as you have right now, probably watching this video, you're curious about Azazel, you're curious about the spirit, curious what he can do for you, how he can transform your life, how he can work and find a relationship with him. And exactly that curiosity I also had, okay? But I procrastinated the working a little bit because of, exactly these kind of stories that you find all around, and then that I also then found in my, real life from a friend of mine who explained her experience like this. So yeah, this is this was like kind of the first initial phase, and I have to tell you guys now, the reason why I'm also recording this video is because when I started working with him, once I started working with him, my life has changed completely. And Azazel turned out to become my guide, my companion, a father-like figure, a spirit that I've connected with like no spirit ever before. A godlike conscience that has blessed me so much with everything that you can imagine. May it be knowledge, may it be experience, may it be money, may it be growth, may it be a complete different life situation. So this is the reason why I'm recording this here. Of course, also to promote Azazel, right? This is something that you can do when you're working with spirits as an offering, of course, right? But also because I was so hesitant because this kind of information was not out there of people explaining experiences like this, right? Blissful experiences. So my first initiation with Azazel was together with a good friend of mine who is a well-known YouTuber. His channel name is Anubis, B-I-Z. You may have heard of him before. You may have watched some of his videos. Amazing channel. If you haven't, check it out. It's going to be in the description down below, so you can check his channel out. There's also a lot of content about Azazel if you're curious or want to have some more insights about that. And this was pretty much my first way of connecting with him, okay? Anubis, we did a call, and he told me that I should really work with Azazel. It would be the perfect situation because I was kind of stuck in my life. I was very focused on business. This was my main priority. Thus also the spirits that I've worked with very intensely. I worked with Bune every single day, and making money, growing my business was pretty much my sole focus, which kind of put into the back the aspect of spiritual growth. So my good friend told me that something very true, and always told me, and this is, if you were to be that person who's already able to attract the kind of success and wealth that you are seeking, then you would already be there. So the change may not be needed in a way of changing your way of working or starting this or that project, but more so on evolving your spiritual being to the level where you are able to attract and manifest that life that you're seeking. So we prepared for a week straight with a reading, with a tarot reading, and I also did some initial offerings. This is what I like to do. So we pretty much prepared a whole pact working, a very, very intense pact. More to that later on. But yeah, I like to connect first with the spirit. I drew Azazel's sigil. I gave some blood, offered some blood, connected. The way that I like to approach my rituals in a very comprehensive manner is I like to meditate first, right? Get my mind straight, clear out all the thoughts. Then I like to work with the sigils. I like to work with the ends, the enchantings. In Azazel's case, it is Eya, Onsa, Azazel, Aken. And yeah, then I like to gaze at the sigil, really come into that trance state. Then I like to manifest that communication where you can really communicate with the spirit and you can feel the energy and you can kind of feel if you're drawn to it or maybe not so much. Yeah, I did that for a week straight. We prepared for a week straight for a big pact working that we laid out with Azazel. The main goal here was spiritual and financial growth very specifically. Like I said, I was already at a comfortable point of finance, but I was very, very hungry for even more success. And as I've explained before, I felt like I've let down my spiritual growth and focused too much on the sheer accumulation of wealth. At that time, I was dealing also with night terrors. I was waking up daily, having all kinds of crazy astral visions of spiders in my room, of the room being filled with blood, of seeing all kinds of different parasitical, low-level astral energies, because I was in a lower level astral state when waking up, and it was really like opening my eyes, and these things were right in front of me, right? They crawled towards me, and I was screaming because you cannot really differentiate between that astral vision and your real room. In that moment, it's not like you're dreaming, but it's like you're wide awake and you're looking at these things and they're in your room. So I was dealing a lot with that, and I was, spiritually not in the best place because I was so focused on that material aspect of life, of growing my wealth, growing my success. I was also very attackable on a spiritual side, okay? So this is all why we laid out the pact working in the sense that we focused on spiritual and financial growth. This is exactly what I asked Azazel for. And the ritual was very, very intense, very, very intense. We did a 3-hour ritual. We summoned all of the demonic gatekeepers, and then Azazel specifically. It is a very, very great ritual. You can check out Anubis channel for more information on that. He has some information about his rituals and how he likes to approach them. It was very, very great, very intense. To break it down to the most essential parts here, my offering for that spiritual and financial growth was basically giving Azazel an offering every morning, every afternoon, and every evening for the foreseeable future. That means 3 times a day I was connecting with Azazel and giving him my blood. And yes, this may sound very extreme to you, maybe, if you're listening to this, but this was just my way of empowering that already extremely powerful ritual even more every single day, okay? And this is that kind of dedication that really then also yields these kind of results that I will be breaking down now and exactly what has happened. So if you're asking yourself, hey, what can I offer? Showing that dedication, that way of not doing maybe an offering once per month, but maybe once per week, once per day, once every 2 days, whatever, showing that dedication and bringing that kind of mindset into the ritualistic space can really empower your workings to the next level. Therefore, due to working with Azazel 3 times every single day, he was by my side for a very long time. After the first few weeks, my life already started to change drastically. I could finally go to bed again and sleep in peace, and it was like my friend Anubis told me, Azazel is kind of like the badass of the spiritual realm, so to say. He's a very powerful, very ancient being. And when you connect with him on that level, you also have the level of protection, right? Your frequency aligns to that, and you are much more protected. Also in these situations where you're vulnerable, like I was in that astral lower realm, my nights got better and better. I could finally sleep again, and that was already a huge blessing. But all of a sudden, there were some blockages coming up in my current businesses. Okay, it kind of felt like my businesses were doing worse than before, which was initially very frustrating. But after some time, I just realized that was a sign for me to rethink how I approach my work, and that forced me to start a completely new way of approaching my businesses that completely blew out all of my previous results completely out of the water. Okay, so I was basically transitioning the way that I worked in business into a way that allowed me to be much more free in terms of time and nonetheless have a greater income and impact. So that was amazing, and it was all because initially it went all down south a little bit. That forced me to rethink, and this is a very good example of how Azazel likes to teach you and change your life. Okay, initially you may think, wow, this is right now quite frustrating, but it's a blessing in disguise. I was more inspired to work, and it was much more lucrative from a time versus money perspective, as I described before. When you connect with Azazel, you can prepare for your life to really shift, okay? And exactly this is what has happened for me. My well-being was enhanced with my sleep and everything. My work mission has completely changed, and also my social life improved massively. I was able to connect with some awesome spiritual people, where before I was more of a lone wolf, so to say. And that was really, really, great. It was a great aspect of my life that has been missing, and all of this started to change after I did these daily workings with Azazel. 4 months later, I even moved countries with these newly found friends, and we started even more inspiring business ventures and experienced life in a whole and completely different way. I was out of my hometown, home country for the first time in my life, moving to a different, continent even, and it was amazing. And all of these drastic changes that also brought more freedom and more happiness, even though being challenging in the short term, were really a sign that my workings with Azazel were extremely fruitful, and that it was a blessing for me. The daily regimen of connecting with Azazel held me also accountable, even on days where I felt miserable. I was sick. I was just sick of life, or maybe even sick in a health aspect. I nonetheless did my workings each and every single day. And every single time when life threw me a curveball, Azazel was there to put me in the right mindset, to put me in the right state of mind, give me that perspective. And the communication and constant communication really forced me to always rethink how I was perceiving the specific situation, to elevate to a higher level of consciousness, because this is exactly what these gods, demons, and ancient beings are, right? Higher levels of consciousness. So this higher way of thinking from the bird's eye perspective, by having Azazel's kind of perception and intuition intuitively connected to my being through all of these workings and offerings, was always a very, very beneficial thing. When sometimes you lose track, you get too emotional, you get too sucked into the ego perspective, this really helps you, if you do these rituals, to get to a higher state of being, to a higher frequency, and look at it from a more rational and productive way. And this is exactly what Azazel is amazing for. He is really that ancient teacher. He is really like a father figure connected with Saturn, all about, delayed gratification, so to say, right? Making you learn also, making you change. But this perspective is very often what we are missing in life. When we get too emotional, when we get too sucked into the ego perspective, we got to understand that everything that arises, every challenge is always a blessing in disguise. Everything that you're facing is maybe just there for you to grow to the next level. And this is really kind of what Azazel's character and teachings are, or can be personalized as. There was not a single situation in all of this time where I felt let down, no matter what happened. Connecting with a God conscious that is vibrating on a higher dimensional frequency on a daily basis, and really experiencing that growth and knowledge and experience that comes from that is, something that has shaped my life dramatically to a completely new way and form of being. I'm definitely not the person that I have been 500 days ago when starting to work with Azazel. Like I said, all the challenges that occurred during that time and the growth that these challenges, exactly these hardships have caused, turned me into a completely different being over this time. Look, guys, to summarize it for you, I don't live in the same country anymore. I have a completely new social circle with people that are amazing, people that I love to have around me, with multiple new business ventures and a completely changed mindset and spirit. And this is exactly what the initial pact was laid out for, that spiritual and financial growth. And that spiritual growth really occurred with everything that I've described, right? With maybe a challenge that is a blessing in disguise, with changing countries and collecting new experiences, with meeting new people that help you to elevate to a higher level of frequency and being, and also with the daily responsibility to giving these offerings and doing whatever is necessary and to connect with Azazel, right? And from a financial perspective, I was not only blessed with more lucrative businesses, but also with a new way of approaching business that allows me to have taken back control over my life and time in a way that I can work however I seek to do it while still having greater impact. And I'm very, very sure that all of this would have never happened if I wouldn't have connected in such an intimate and intense way with Azazel, whose teachings can be and will be absolutely life-changing if you bring to the table what he's asking you to bring, if you bring, that respect, if you bring the ability to follow through with what you're saying, and also to have the right mindset of understanding that even if a situation is maybe right now throwing you off, it can be just a blessing in disguise. I'm saying this for the fourth time, where you got to take responsibility of seeing, okay, how have I caused this? But also, what does this teach me? Not why is this happening to me, but what does this teach me? How does this help me to get to the next level? And this kind of mindset Azazel is teaching you, but you also got to be receptive for that and not, think that everything is just turning upside down, like many people on YouTube or on forums describe. Summarized, guys, there were so many unexplainable events that happened in my life, so many strange occurrences that turned out to be absolute blessings for me, that I'm very convinced would have never happened if I wouldn't have connected with Azazel. Furthermore than that, in every situation where I really felt pain, sadness, or hopelessness, he was there for me, and connecting with him, he always let me know that he got my back. And this sometimes even made me emotional, make me cry in the ritual circle, because having that backup and building that connection is really amazing. And what you often see with humans is that if you do a lot for them, they forget about that. But with the God conscious, with these ancient teachers, if you do something for them, if you connect with them, if you come with the right attitude, they will always have your back. And Azazel is really, really reliable and really amazing when it comes to that, from my own experience. And this is, of course, always very important, guys. This is my own experience. So working with a demon, a god, an ancient teacher, however you want to call it, on a daily and intimate basis is really a great way of establishing a connection that goes far beyond like a simple spell or one time off ritual, right? Azazel will be part of my life and my being and my spirit forever, and I'm beyond grateful for that. I'm still working with Azazel on a frequent and regular basis, and he really is a master of every art, right? His power is really, really intense. I also think that this is connected because so many people know about Azazel. His name is very ancient, goes back a very long time, and I think that this has an impact towards the power of this collective energy that we also as the collective conscious create or co-create, right? So I definitely think that his great power also stems from so many people already knowing about him. And this is also my mission that I'm on here, guys. Like I said in the beginning, sharing my experiences so that, Azazel, who has done so much for me, even gains more recognition, more power. And this is really what this video is made for, guys. So overall, Azazel is a master of every art. And if you're planning to working with him, if you're watching this video out of curiosity, and maybe if you've been holding back because you're not sure what to expect, I can tell you from my experience, from my personal experience, it has been an absolute blessing and nothing less than an absolute blessing. I'm very happy and grateful for everything that has occurred. I'm very happy and grateful for having Azazel on my side, and I'm very blessed to have that support in all of these situations that I've mentioned that have been very drastic sometimes. I'm very, very happy and grateful for that. So if you are looking to connect with Azazel, if you're looking to work with Azazel, then this is my story. I hope that inspires you. If you're looking for a step-to-step tutorial, you can go into the last video that I've uploaded here on this channel, where I show you exactly what sigil I used, what signs I use. I will link that in the description down below. And this is my experience of working with Azazel for 500 days, guys. I hope you enjoy it. I empower this video with my energy. May my energy help you to reach your goals. May my energy help you to connect with Azazel. May my energy bless you and give you everything that you seek. And I thank you for watching. Remember, there's a reason why you watch this. I wish you great success in working with Azazel. May you be blessed like I was blessed.